Hello. I plead with President Obama for a federal investigation into unlawful actions by cities and shelters against homeless community members who are treated worse than criminals at times. Please, President Obama, declare a state of emergency to house the increasing population of people without basic housing. Are we all blind, or we just don't want to look and see what's really happening out there? Please open empty buildings and empty parking lots for people and their vehicles all across America. People could pay rent of $200 a month, or they could work, or they could volunteer 10 hours for a 24/7 place to call home. A 10 by 10 cubicle would work in any building. President Obama, please consider the Housing First model, which has been proven to work. You can stop the war on the poorest of the poor in cities all across America. Yes, you can. You are our leader, and please start leading. The city of Santa Barbara and its homeless shelters have been giving one-way bus tickets to people to go elsewhere. Do we really want to be intolerant of others like Disneyland did with the hippies in the 1960s? The Santa Barbara Restorative Policing Program is sending people to other counties because mental health beds were unavailable in Santa Barbara County. Cottage Hospital has been releasing patients too early to the local shelters, saving itself millions and millions. Sounds like dumping patients to me. I realize, of course, that I don't have a good chance of being elected mayor. If I was elected, I could do the job just fine. More public restrooms. I'm concerned about the treatment of our homeless brothers and sisters living in Santa Barbara, where everything must be so perfect for the tourist dollars. Obviously, we need business, but not greed at the expense of caring for the people and the environment. Remember what occurred when the Republicans took over the Board of Supervisors, or recently, the city of Goleta. A 2009 Santa Barbara News Press Republican slate is being heavily marketed to us. From the news press, yellow journalism abounds, lies through omission abound, hate and fear is repeated daily in the newspaper editorials. Check it out, read them. We are facing a Santa Barbara Citizen Kane situation with the news press promoting conservative candidates. Also, a Texas resident is funding a media blitz for corporate over people candidates with $50,000 each. The Santa Barbara News Press Republican slate for the city of Santa Barbara could be, one person said, I'll do everything in my power to get like-minded people elected. Beware of closet Rush Limbaughs and Shan Hannity's, candidates who will increase the takeover of our community through allowing zoning policy changes, short-term greedy, and absolutely no interest in the people of this community. As the planet environment is at the tipping point, we could do our part locally by fostering a better balance between developers, sustainable agricultural, and our resources. Please vote this election and consider carefully what is at stake beyond the song and dance, glitz, media gratification, and sophisticated distortions. You'll get what you vote for election month, October 5th through November 3rd. Absentee ballots are going to be mailed out on October 5th. We are losing what is most important to a civil society, the one where our parents grew up, where people helped each other. I talked to Marty Bloom, and she agreed it would be a great idea to have a mayor's community outreach breakfast to connect more widely with different people within our community. It would also be a wonderful way to remember Marty, who's always been an advocate for peace and human rights. Possibly on Saturday mornings between 7 and 9 at City Hall before the farmer's market, people could have a cup of coffee and talk to each other. And maybe, just maybe, we can get along a little bit better and understand each other better and have a better community. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Steve Cushman, candidate for mayor of Santa Barbara. Thank you for taking the time to watch this program. I'm going to tell you a little about myself, why I'm running, what I've done in the past, what I intend to do, and what I think the differences are between myself and the other candidates. Here's why I'm running. I'm a problem solver. I've spent my life helping people. I want to provide the leadership and solutions to make Santa Barbara one of the great cities of the world. We have the weather, the wealth, the natural resources, and a great university. But we have problems too, a depressed economy, gangs, and a depleted city budget. The current city council has not effectively dealt with our problems. They spend more than they take in, they don't understand business, and they take no action on youth violence. I want to change how City Hall is run. I stand for leadership and solutions. I'm the son of a coal miner, the first in my family to go to college. My grandfather emigrated from Russia with nothing. He was a coal miner in Pennsylvania. My father worked the mines, but was able to get out of school because he got a high school education. Lucky for me. I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like not to have a job. I know what it's like not to have a home. That's when life is stressful. That's when life is hard. And now, here I am, running for mayor of Santa Barbara, the son of a coal miner. And I'm running for mayor because I'm grateful every day that I'm lucky enough to live in Santa Barbara. I want to help the city through the worst economy in our lifetime. I want to help people get jobs. I want to help people get homes. Here's who I am. I'm an executive, an artist, a poet, and an entrepreneur. I graduated from UCSB in 1968. I was a professional baseball player and a sergeant in the Army. I'm still married to Sheila, who I met at college, and is the director of the new Santa Barbara Children's Museum. Our son is a technologist at UC San Diego and has done all the web work on my website. If the city elects me, it gets the whole family. Here's what I've done. I'm not a career politician. I've worked for more than 40 years in business, nonprofits, and government, and have served on more than 90 local boards and commissions. I've worked with city and county governments, nonprofits, and thousands of local businesses to make Santa Barbara a better place to live and work. I've raised millions of dollars for local charities. How am I different from the other candidates? I believe I'm the only candidate who has owned and operated their own businesses, led a local organization for 20 years, held art exhibits, served in the military, and pitched in Dodger Stadium. Here's what I intend to do. In tough economic times, the city should be able to rely on its reserves to provide necessary programs and services. Over the last 10 years, city revenues increased by nearly 50%, yet operating expenses increased by 63%, much of it in salaries and benefits. To balance the current budget, the council voted to shift general fund expenses to other cost centers and spend down its reserves. I'll bring back fiscal responsibility and accountability to City Hall. Public safety is important to our citizens and vital to the health of the tourist industry that fuels our local economy. The city must institute a no-nonsense, zero-tolerance approach to gang activity and crime. At the same time, we have to work closely with social service and youth-serving agencies to support families and to offer programs and training that will keep our youth out of gangs and on the path to a hopeful future. Aggressive panhandling on city sidewalks is another concern that threatens the safety of citizens and visitors. As mayor, I'll increase police presence in needed areas and institute a public education program to discourage donations to panhandlers. The neighborhood planning decisions of the current city council have threatened the charm and character of our neighborhoods. If it passes, I'll support the 40-foot height limit ordinance and will ensure that it is fairly administered. I'll also revisit the report of a 1990s community task force recommending the consolidation and relocation of homeless services away from the downtown area. As the birthplace of the environmental movement, Santa Barbara must take a leadership role in promoting sustainability. As mayor, I will forge strategic partnerships with local businesses and colleges that are developing cutting-edge technologies for conserving energy, water, and other precious resources. Our city needs a proven leader who will both listen and bring the community together to develop realistic solutions to ensure a fiscally sound, sustainable future. I would be honored to work with all of you to bring about the change Santa Barbara needs.
Hi, I'm Isaac Garrett, a candidate for mayor for the city of Santa Barbara. The November 3rd election, 2009, will be one of the most critical elections for Santa Barbara voters in recent years. We will have the opportunity to elect 3 new council members and the mayor. We must elect the mayor and council members who will acknowledge the real issues and problems and engage the community in real meaningful dialogue and address the issues in a way to get positive results. Some of those issues are campaign finance reform, affordable housing for our workforce, district elections, a clean and safe environment, eliminate gang activity, regain control of our elected leaders, and demand that they represent all of the people instead of representing special interest groups. I pledge to limit financial contributions to a maximum of $500 from any one source. I will assure the voters of Santa Barbara, if you honor me with your vote on November 3rd, I will be a mayor for all of the people. I have been an unpaid servant in numerous positions in this beautiful city for over 40 years. With the common sense approach and my experience, I am confident that if we use our resources wisely, we can provide the needed services without tax increases or fees. Thank you for listening, and I'd appreciate your vote on November 3rd.
I'm Dale Francisco, Santa Barbara City Council member. I'd like to tell you why I'm running for the office of mayor. I grew up in Orange County and came to Santa Barbara in 1979. At UCSB, I earned degrees in computer science and English literature. Most of my career since has been in software engineering for computer networking companies, including Cisco Systems in San Jose. My experience at Cisco taught me something about the dynamics of large organizations and about fostering a good work environment that allowed my team to create products that customers wanted. The city of Santa Barbara, with 1,100 full-time employees and an annual budget of about $250 million, is a medium-sized enterprise. I know something about how such organizations work. I believe our city is badly in need of new leadership, and that's why I'm asking you to vote for me for mayor. For many months now, the city and the state's economy has continued to worsen. Yet this spring, the City Council majority voted to award pay raises and a new paid holiday to city employees, at the same time that local businesses and cities across the nation were cutting wages, cutting hours, and laying people off. I argued against those raises and against that holiday. I said we would come to regret it. I lost that vote, but more important, the people of this city lost confidence in its leadership. Back in 1992, when the city was beginning to recover from a recession less severe than the one we face now, an earlier, more prudent city council established a budgetary reserve, a rainy day fund. The common sense idea was that in good times, we'd add money to the reserve so that in bad times, we could draw on that reserve to maintain city services even when city revenues were headed down. Unfortunately, over the last several years, most of which were good years, City Council has treated that reserve like a credit card. And now the bill is due. We should have a budgetary reserve of $11 million. Instead, we have a little over $900,000. What went wrong? First, as I've said, people on the council have spent money we didn't have on salary increases for city employees. We have a lot of dedicated, hardworking, knowledgeable people working for the city of Santa Barbara, and we're lucky to have them. When their union representatives sit down at the bargaining table, I expect them to try to get the best deal they can for their membership. What I don't expect is for the people on the other side of the table, ultimately City Council, to behave as union reps as well. Many people are surprised when I tell them that our local public employee unions are among the largest contributors to City Council election campaigns. They ask me, isn't that illegal? No, it's not. But I believe that to accept such contributions fatally compromises a council member's ability to be fair and objective in labor negotiations. I'll never accept a dollar from our unions or from our developers. I have to be free to work on behalf of all the people of Santa Barbara, not just to the benefit of a few. Second, we have a council majority on autopilot when it comes to the budget. Council has left that job almost entirely to our city administrator, Jim Armstrong. I have great respect for Jim, but the council isn't providing him the clear direction he needs. This failure to set priorities and the misguided focus on misplaced priorities is at the root of our problems with gangs, graffiti, homelessness, and all the rest. Public safety is government's most important responsibility. Since 2004, City Council has eliminated 21 positions in the police department while adding new employees in other departments. In the most recent budget hearings, the council majority decided to cut yet more police positions. This disastrous policy has to stop. We need a mayor and council that will give our police the staff and the tools they need to do their job. I think the people of this city want a mayor and a city council that focuses on setting and accomplishing common sense priorities, balancing the budget, keeping the streets in good repair, putting the bad guys in jail, keeping our parks clean and green, and all the other mundane but important tasks of city government. As mayor, getting back to those basics will be my focus. This election, starting with the distribution of mail-in ballots to every registered voter in the city on October 5th, gives you an unprecedented opportunity to change City Council and to change the direction we're headed. I need your vote, and I need your help. This election is a crossroads for Santa Barbara. If we continue with the tired and mistaken ideas of my opponents, our problems with crime, vagrancy, and decaying infrastructure will only worsen. I promise you that as mayor, I will do everything in my power to protect and enhance this city that we all love. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for watching. I'm Helene Schneider, and I appreciate this brief opportunity to talk about my candidacy for Santa Barbara Mayor. These last 5.5 years, I've had the honor to work on your behalf as your City Council member. During this time, I've been a consistent leader protecting our environment, ensuring public health and safety, protecting neighborhood character, investing in our youth, and reducing homelessness. As a member of the Finance Committee, I presented balanced budgets that prioritize public safety and essential services such as police neighborhood bike patrols, after-school programs, and human services grants. Today, the City of Santa Barbara faces unprecedented financial challenges resulting from our nation's economic downturn. While facing significant budget cuts, our financial decisions must keep the city aligned with our community values. My 5 priorities for Santa Barbara's future include: 1. Creating a solid fiscal foundation by implementing policies that rebuild and maintain funds in city reserve accounts. 2. Ensuring safe neighborhoods for kids and community by making sure our sworn police force is fully staffed, investing in at-risk youth programs, and building stronger connections between City Hall and neighborhood groups. 3. Strengthening our role as an environmental leader with clean creeks, beaches, and pesticide-free parks, and by reducing our dependence on fossil fuels. 4. Partnering with local businesses towards economic recovery and creating incentives for new green technology and startup companies. And 5. Preserving neighborhood character and our cultural heritage by respecting Santa Barbara's small town feel, protecting open space, focusing on quality building design, and promoting the arts and local artists. First, the city must balance its budget and restore reserves. My background in human resources management will bring needed expertise in reviewing organizational structure and building a solid fiscal foundation. The city will also have to become smaller, and in fact, this last budget includes a reduction of over 40 positions to the general fund, with no cuts in sworn police officers or firefighters. The current level of gang-related violence, especially among our youth, is unacceptable and creates fear and tension for residents and visitors. We must fight gang violence with a balanced combination of enforcement and prevention. Accomplishing this requires a coordinated effort between the city, local district and county schools, probation and sheriff departments, and a variety of social service agencies that focus on at-risk youth. Leadership from the next mayor is imperative to sustain this broad-based regional effort over time, and this will be a top priority for me if elected. Reducing homelessness also increases our public safety. I serve on the governing board of the Santa Barbara Countywide 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness, where our coordinated efforts resulted in getting over 300 chronically homeless people off the streets. I've also been a leader advocating for a strong anti-panhandling ordinance, increased police presence on State Street, enhanced coordination between police and homeless outreach teams, and funding for essential mental health services. I am a fierce protector of our environment. As chair of the city's sustainability committee, I work with city departments to maximize energy and cost savings. There are many ways we can be both environmentally strong and fiscally sound. For example, by conducting a simple lighting audit of all municipal buildings, the city saved over $60,000 in electricity bills in 1 year. Another is through my work on the School District Recycling Committee, where some simple organization and structural changes resulted in increased recycling and saving the school district $80,000 in annual trash fees. Sometimes, strong environmental projects also enhance public health and safety. One example is the Lower Mission Creek Restoration Project, which runs from Cabrillo Boulevard up to the Caltrans Channel at Carrillo and the 101. I'm the council liaison to this restoration project that provides flood control protection, increases water quality, replaces deteriorating bridges, adds new pocket parks, and protects 2 endangered species. After decades of inactivity, we're finally seeing some momentum with funding opportunities from Congress and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I'm a strong advocate of slow growth policies. I have a proven record of preserving open space, such as in the Las Positas Valley, and opposing luxury condo mixed-use developments and protecting renters by opposing condo conversions. These are just some examples where political leadership can be used to protect community values and embrace the opportunities of tomorrow, even under challenging economic times. I've worked hard for Santa Barbara these last 5.5 years and would be honored to continue working as your next mayor. So I ask you to join the Sierra Club, League of Conservation Voters, former mayors Harriet Miller and Sheila Lodge, Mayor Marty Bloom, Supervisor Salud Carbajal, Janet Wolf, and Doreen Farr, and many others in supporting my candidacy for mayor. I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is John Tyne. I've lived in Santa Barbara for many years, working as a law school teacher, an attorney, and a successful businessman employing dozens of local employees. I'm asking for your vote this year to change the way the City Council does business. Our city's budget is in trouble, and as a local businessman, I have the right experience to help us through these difficult times. I will be a fiscally responsible leader committed to sensible fiscal policies that will save our city's budget. I'll work closely with local businesses to reinvigorate our local economy and increase revenues for the city. As a lawyer, I'm extremely concerned by public safety. I know that the primary role of government is to protect her citizens. I think that keeping Santa Barbara safe for all the citizens and visitors that come here is the most important job of city government. We must remain committed to recruiting, retaining, and working positively with the best fire and police personnel that our country has to offer. We must also take a tough stance with gang violence. We must give the police tools necessary to fight this threat, but we also must reach out to our children and provide them with positive alternatives to gang involvement. As a real estate professional, I also understand how important Santa Barbara's unique, beautiful character is. And I'm committed to making sure that Santa Barbara remains a beautiful place for all of us who live, work, and play here. I'm committed to sensible building design, setback, and landscaping requirements so that we can make sure that Santa Barbara's character remains beautiful. Also, I'm committed to providing downtown convenient workforce housing for those of us that work in Santa Barbara. We must also streamline our planning and our permitting process so that property owners can improve their properties appropriately. It's time that our local leaders move past the politics as usual, finger pointing that has kept us back for far too long. I'm not involved with any political parties. My only agenda is to serve you, the Santa Barbara citizen. I'm an independent leader, and I offer a lifetime of experience of bringing those with different views together to engage in positive resolution of issues. It's time that we focus together on the right priorities: fiscal responsibility, social justice, public safety. These are the issues that will keep Santa Barbara the most beautiful and amazing place to live that it currently is. I ask you to help me to bring common sense to City Hall this year. Please vote for John J. Tyne III, and I promise I will be a competent, committed, and dedicated leader who's looking out for your best interests. Thank you.
I'm Justin Tevis, 2009 Santa Barbara City Council candidate. I'm a lifelong native of Santa Barbara County, grew up surfing our coastal waters and participating in local sports leagues. I've served as a coach and youth mentor around the community. And like many of you, I'm concerned about the future of Santa Barbara. I'm tired of sitting back and watching career politicians spend taxpayers' dollars irresponsibly and then passing the burden of the budget back onto the Santa Barbara citizens. It's time that we get back to the basics in terms of having a local government that focuses on basic infrastructure, makes our roads drivable, our bike lanes safe, our beaches clean, and makes this the prime tourist destination in the entire world. And to do that, we need to stop this unsustainable budget deficit spending on government excess and allow Santa Barbara's independent spirit to prosper and progress. We must reprioritize law enforcement and stop focusing on revenue generators that scare away tourists and get serious on violent criminals. We do have a gang problem here in Santa Barbara that needs to be addressed by strong leadership. I feel that I provide that leadership. We must restore downtown to its former glory by making it friendly to businesses and consumers, allowing the sales tax revenue to regenerate itself via the natural business cycle. We must also preserve Santa Barbara's unique small-town cultural identity and keep big projects 100 miles away in LA. I love Santa Barbara, and so do you. A vote for Tevis is a vote for freedom. That means freedom from an insolvent city government run by overzealous politicians with special interest agendas. Freedom from redline spending on the city council that is not accountable to the people. Freedom from unsafe streets and violent criminals that roam free. Freedom from being a target of revenue generation for the city. And most of all, freedom to have a say in our local city government process, as I will work to listen with the citizens of Santa Barbara and what their vision is for city government. I'm Justin Tevis, and I hope to have your vote for Santa Barbara City Council.
Hi, I'm Frank Hotchkiss. I'm running for City Council, and I wanted to tell you why. Santa Barbara is a beautiful city, but it could be better. I envision a city where we're all free to go wherever we want safely, and where we can visit our parks and our beaches comfortably. A city that looks after its homeless so that they don't bother our tourists or our businesses by asking for a handout downtown. A city that urges its young people to stay out of gangs, and for those already in gangs, encourages them to make another choice, a choice that will lead to a free and productive life. A city that lives within its means, just as you and I must do, and when it can, plans for a rainy day. A city that remains a small city, not a big city, so that we have downtown height limits and keep our downtown corridor relatively of low density. Now, the ambience of our neighborhoods is very important, so we shouldn't deflect traffic off our key thoroughfares into the surrounding neighborhoods like Samarkand or San Roque. That's a terrible idea. And we shouldn't impose design concepts such as curb bulb outs on neighborhoods that are perfectly happy the way they are. That's a terrible idea. Finally, we should be a city where the people are confident that their elected representatives and the paid staff will listen to them so that they don't make decisions based on personal agendas. So, I'm Frank Hotchkiss. I hope you'll vote for me when you receive your ballot in the mail the first week in October. Thank you very much.
My name is Grant House. I'm here to ask for your support in my bid for re-election to Santa Barbara City Council. I'm seeking a second term on City Council to continue to provide inclusive leadership and experienced stewardship of our community, our economy, and our environment. Today, all of us here in Santa Barbara are struggling with the most severe national economic crisis any of us can remember. Businesses large and small are affected. Tourism is down. Sales taxes are continuing to decline. Many enterprises are closing. Dear friends are losing their jobs. My wife Peggy Jo and I are both longtime local business owners. We know firsthand how it feels to work every day to make ends meet. Our city's government is not immune to these forces. State raids on local revenues are making matters even worse. Due to the policies and practices of the last 4 years, Santa Barbara stands to weather the storm better than many of our fellow California cities. With careful leadership at all levels of our local government, vital services have been preserved. We are determined to keep the effects of these unprecedented declines in revenue as far away from the public as possible. There are signals of improvement on the horizon, but we're not out of the woods yet. I am Grant House, and I'm asking for your support for my re-election to ensure our city remains faithful to our values even as we address the current economic crisis and prepare for the economic rebound to come. Our greatest strength is our sense of community and the knowledge that working together we can handle all our challenges. We will come through stronger and more resilient than ever before. We must never forget what makes Santa Barbara special. It is my intention to continue to focus on our core assets, inventiveness, creativity, and innovation, our steadfast commitment to look out for one another, and the immense generosity and enduring spirit of volunteerism that puts in action who we are as a community. I know we share these values. Since you elected me in 2005, I have done all I can to express them in my work on City Council, and I will continue these cherished Santa Barbara traditions into my second term. I am grateful for the support I'm receiving from friends and valued partners in our community. The Sierra Club, former mayors Harriet Miller and Hal Conklin, my colleagues Mayor Marty Bloom, council members Roger Horton, Das Williams, former supervisors Naomi Schwartz and Susan Rose, supervisors Salud Carvajal, Janet Wolf, and Doreen Farr, Goleta Mayor Roger Sevis, the Democratic Party, Democratic Women, and many others. There is still more to be done, and each of us has a part to play. My name is Grant House. Please help re-elect me to a second term on Santa Barbara City Council.
Hello, neighbors. I'm Diane Channing, and I'm running for City Council because I love Santa Barbara as much as you do. Let me ask you a question. What would California look like if there were no Santa Barbara? 20 years ago, I came to Santa Barbara with my husband Phil from Orange County, where overdevelopment was ruining our quality of life. At the time, we were saving to buy a home, and I thought all the development in that region was going to make it possible for us to purchase a home. Nothing was further from the truth. The price of a home continued to climb as our quality of life deteriorated. We eventually left in frustration and came to Santa Barbara not knowing what to expect. 20 years later, we are still here enjoying the mountains, the sea, and the friendly people. 25 years ago, we started our own photography business. We made a success of it, and we survived 2 economic downturns. I have managed long-range planning and balancing our budget. I will bring these skills to City Hall. I cut my teeth on community activism as a board member and president of the Riviera Neighborhood Association. One issue important to neighborhoods was disputes between neighbors over trees, vegetation, and views. We needed a view ordinance that would resolve this conflict. At the time, I was told that such an ordinance would never happen in Santa Barbara, but I persevered, and the ordinance was adopted in 2001. Another important issue citywide was the Neighborhood Preservation Ordinance. I chaired the steering committee during 30 public meetings over a 2-year process working with city staff. The result is the new single-family design guidelines that protect neighborhood character, affordability, and eliminate contentious design review meetings by including stakeholders early in the process. I've worked on regional issues such as transportation and rental housing. I worked with a coalition of community leaders for the Fair Measure D and A to make sure that we have local funding for alternative transportation goals and are eligible for state and federal matching funds. Planning for our future must include the reality that we have finite resources. Some of these resources are growth-related, such as water, sewer, and solid waste capacity. Other resources are economic. I promise to use these resources carefully. I will work with public safety personnel to make sure that they have the tools they need to make our community safe, including increased bike patrols for police and wildland fire prevention. So what would California look like without a Santa Barbara? I see unchecked development continuing up the coast. I am committed to seeing that this does not happen. I have a track record as a doer, not a talker. So please help me preserve what we cherish and plan for our future. My name is Diane Channing, and I'd be honored to have your vote.
Hello. Buenos días. My name is Crucito Herrera Cruz. Me llamo Crucito Herrera Cruz. My political declaration to enter electoral election for the municipality of the city of Santa Barbara, California, stems from the notion of equalitarianism and the notion that all Santa Barbarians are born equal. The current state of civic affairs is that our local polity has an unequal standing in terms of political power and political influence. Therefore, the residents are governed and consented to constitutional principles under California Article 2, Section 1. All political power is inherent in the people. Government is instituted for their protection, security, and benefit, and they have a right to reform or alter it when the public good may require of it. Thus, Section 2 of Article 1 gives me, gives you, gives all Santa Barbans the entitlement to vote, whereas the right to vote stems from the belief that womankind and mankind are socially and politically equal. Each individual vote is counted as one because our civic trait is seen to exist that all people require that they be treated equally. All people should be treated with the same consideration, same concern, and same service, whereas each person will receive equal treatment under the law, equal opportunity for such things as education, development of capacities, and fulfillment of Santa Barbara's needs. Hopefully, I could gain your vote November 3rd, 2009. Hola, yo soy Crucito Herrera Cruz. Esta es mi declaración política para comenzar
mi campaña electoral del municipio de Santa Bárbara, California, y en mi lanzamiento hay esta campaña para el concejal. Es por la razón que nuestras políticas cívicas necesitan poder político y la influencia necesitada para cambios sociales. Espero su voto el 3 de noviembre 2009. Muchas gracias por todo. Muchas gracias, jefecita.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Gibbs, a candidate for your city council. I'm a retired physician and electrical engineer. For 26 years, I practiced anesthesia at the Cottage Hospital. I served 14 months on a federal grand jury and another year on the Santa Barbara Civil Grand Jury. What will I bring to the city of Santa Barbara? Most important is my ability to say no. No when special interest groups seek favors of the council that aren't in the best interest of our community. I can do this because I have no self-serving agenda and will not be accepting donations or endorsements from these groups. Raising taxes and fees in this depressed economy makes little sense. Everybody is hurting, more business will be lost. It's time for the City Council to make deeper cuts. In that regard, I propose the Council show leadership by taking the biggest hit. Also important are retirement benefits. A defined benefits program in today's economy just won't fly. It's too expensive, it's too risky. The current problem of reducing expenses through uncompensated time off is not a good answer. We deserve a full-time government. Capital expenditures merit our attention. Millions for bulb outs need to go the way of the little blue line. I'm sure we can put our heads together and come up with any number of ideas that are superior to street realignment. Measure B needs to be passed, period. Regarding gangs and graffiti, is there anything wrong with a little tough love? Let's get the parents involved. It may take a community to raise a child, but the community can't enter the home and teach social responsibility. We must continue pursuing the graffiti artists. Major felonies in the furtherance of gang activity needs to be treated as an adult crime with adult penalties. No more wrist slapping. These kids are past masters at gaming the system. We can't put an end to homelessness, but we can curtail aggressive panhandling. I don't have much faith in donation boxes, mostly because any money collected will likely just end up in the general fund. Yes, we have community problems. Yes, the solutions are uncomfortable. Yes, we can do it. Politicians must remember they work for the citizens, not just special interest groups. Thank you for allowing me to express my views. Your City Council candidate, John Gibbs.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lane Anderson. I'm hoping you're going to vote for me for City Council so I can better represent you and improve our fair city. I have chosen not to solicit or accept campaign contributions, and that way I'm not beholden to any special interest. This also means that you won't receive propaganda or porch litter from me, and that if you vote for me, it says that you think City Council seats should not be bought and sold. I hope to work with my partners at City Council and City staff to implement and improve community initiatives. As one example, the Citizen Initiative to ban gasoline-powered leaf blowers passed more than 12 years ago by a wide majority, and it still isn't enforced in any meaningful way. Gasoline-powered leaf blowers are just a bad idea because the idea of using gasoline to blow your pollutants, your contaminants, your allergens into somebody else's yard and nose is just offensive. I will work to end this and to have it reconsidered as a public health ordinance rather than a noise ordinance as it now is. This will allow more enforcement. Enforcement can include fines and even impoundment, and we can use business licenses to make sure that we are able to track infractions. I also have a plan to balance our city's budget through a program I have called Recovery and Prevention. This involves recovering revenue squandered by high-risk behavior by a minority of the people and preventing future high-risk behavior by using the Article 15 of the California Constitution's allowances for taxes, assessments, and fees. I'm the only city council candidate, to my knowledge, to oppose Measure B. I oppose Measure B because it would limit the city's ability to negotiate with future developers and builders to provide low-cost workforce housing right where it's needed. If we provide low-cost housing for the workforce and for students right where it's needed, we'll take thousands of cars off the highway, reduce congestion, reduce air pollution, and improve our environment in general. I'm also a bus rider and a bicyclist, and I want to improve bicycle safety, and I want to improve bus service. We can do this. And I want to negotiate with the railway to use railway right-of-way as a Class 1 bike path clear across our city. Thank you. Please vote for me in the election.
Hi, I'm David Pritchett. Now is the time for change on the Santa Barbara City Council. I love Santa Barbara, and I have ever since college at UCSB. I am grateful to live here, and I plan to for the rest of my life. Representing you and your family will be a responsibility I take very seriously as our community faces economic hardship and challenges about environmental quality, traffic congestion, and the well-being of our youth. My team of volunteers and I have contacted thousands of voters so far, and I have heard your concerns about the city budget, public safety, and graffiti, to name just a few issues. People are apprehensive about affordable housing and services for our seniors, all while our economy gets tighter. I understand these concerns, and as I am a renter myself, and my household finances are tight as well. I also want to make sure that Santa Barbara keeps our unique community character, so we do not end up like any other Southern California beach town. Why should you vote for me? I run my own small business, and as an environmental scientist with 25 years experience working for private business, nonprofits, and public agencies, I would bring to the City Council the ability to analyze data, to think critically, and to solve problems. And I have a solid record of public service behind me. I've served more than 8 years on 2 prominent city committees. I'm a founding member of the Creeks Committee, and now I serve as chair of the Transportation Circulation Committee. I am also board chair for a local special district agency. In that leadership role, I'm tightening the public budget, I'm denying spending requests, and I'm improving professional standards. And I led the way on the board to reduce pesticides in the environment. In city government, we have plenty of room for improvement. For instance, I want to put the public back into the Public Works Department. This would be with oversight and input through a new Public Works Commission to be formed by consolidation of 2 existing committees. And above all, Santa Barbara must be safe. From overdevelopment, from street violence, from wildfire and flood. I believe my professional and life experience make me the best candidate to attack these problems in a fair and financially sound way. We need to restore our fiscal reserves, and gradually, I want the city to hire 5 more police officers for patrol duty. At my website, I describe in detail my plans for public safety, neighborhood preservation, rental housing protection, and responsive, open city government. I consider every resident to be my neighbor, and I ask for your vote so together we can make positive change for Santa Barbara, because we can do better. Thank you, and vote early once you receive that ballot in the mail.
Hello, I'm Bendy White, and I'm a candidate for Santa Barbara City Council. I was born, raised, and educated here, and make my living in this beautiful city as a land use consultant. A constant in my life is public service. As a county planning commissioner, I fought to protect wetlands and open space. Later, as county fire protection planner, I worked with key stakeholders to produce the county's fire protection plan. It wasn't fully implemented. If it had been, the recent wildfires would have burned fewer homes. During 12 years on the City Water Commission, I helped launch the Master Water Plan, which is still used to maintain our pipeline system and water budget. I'm now serving my 14th year on the City Planning Commission. I am a strong advocate for affordable housing projects which are compatible with neighborhoods such as Casa de las Fuentes. Much of the public is unhappy with the new, bulky developments which are out of scale with Santa Barbara's unique setting. The City Council was gridlocked on the issue, so I joined with concerned citizens to collect signatures that put the Building Height Initiative on the ballot. I have unique experience within city government and the land use planning business. With that background, I can confront the many issues facing our city. Like the entire world, Santa Barbara is taking some serious financial hits. To balance our budget, I will work to bring our employees back to the bargaining table. I'll also seek the help of citizens and staff to cut waste and increase efficiency. I am deeply concerned about our infrastructure. We inherited a glorious legacy of architecture and planning, but we've fallen behind in the upkeep of our buildings and parks. Proper maintenance makes good business sense. It boosts civic pride and our economy. At the street level, the council must ensure that people are safe on foot anywhere in Santa Barbara. That means we need a strong police presence, vigilant neighborhoods, and accountable citizens. I will focus the council's attention on 4 issues: a balanced budget, a walkable, safe downtown, protecting Santa Barbara's unique character, and sound resource management. I have the experience and commitment to lead us through these precarious times. I'm a good listener and will ask tough questions. I hope that you will vote for me for Santa Barbara City Council. Together, we will make sure Santa Barbara stays a great place to live. I'm Bendy White. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Raisin, and I am a candidate for the Santa Barbara City Council. It's time for men and women serving on the City Council to become more responsive to the voices of the people through neighborhood participation. Without council representation by district, the neighborhood's real needs are neglected. Neighborhood watch groups and commissions are good as far as they go. But I would propose monthly town hall meetings, neighborhood by neighborhood, with 2 or more members of the City Council, alternating once a month to meet with each neighborhood throughout the city, offering people the opportunity to express their concerns directly to their elected officials. In 1996, the voters in Santa Barbara passed an initiative requiring the city to hold evening council meetings at 6 p.m. It is only fair to reinstate the will of the voters in this matter. All departments of the city under the leadership of the city manager, with direction from the city council, must be transparent to the public through regular reporting at council meetings. The public must have knowledge of the priorities of each department and how they intend to be cost efficient while protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the community. As a council member, I will provide oversight on how the departments are spending your tax dollars. I will monitor the budget and the general fund while making sure that the general reserve is maintained at a prudent level throughout the fiscal year. I was born and raised and educated in Santa Barbara. I have served the community as a business person and as a volunteer in many organizations, and know my traditional values and background enable me to hold in high regard the importance of a fiscally responsible city council while preserving Santa Barbara's inherent beauty and grace. Thank you.
I'm Michael Self. I'm a long-term resident of the city, a former business owner, and presently the president of Santa Barbara Safe Streets. I'm running for city council because of City Hall's misguided policies that are draining our fiscal resources, ruining our streets, and subjecting us to overdevelopment. Worst of all, City Hall is consistently ignoring the views of the residents. 5 years ago, City Hall imposed traffic calming on my neighborhood. That imposition changed my life. I wanted to know why they were experimenting with our neighborhood streets. I've traveled across the country to meet with traffic planning experts, founded a nonprofit, and attended hundreds of City Hall meetings. I became known as the woman fighting the unpopular little traffic circles and bulb outs, costly obstructions that slow down fire trucks, ambulances, and police. I learned that City Council is out of touch with the citizens for whom they work, and that they refuse to face fiscal reality. My 35 years experience as a businesswoman who has met payroll enables me to handle budgets responsibly. My objective is to restore within our means spending to City Hall and a thriving economic climate friendly for locally owned businesses. Our residents are distressed about the dense and bulky developments being built in our city. I will protect our city from being used as an experiment by planners and from being exploited by developers. We will grow, and it's important that we are wise stewards of our resources. Santa Barbara has honored our city's specialness by selecting excellence over excess. I'll set a new tone at City Hall. City Hall must truly represent our neighborhoods, preserve our heritage, respect our limited resources, and bring healthy solutions to the challenges that face us. Inspired by others who came before me and dedicated to a brighter future for our children and us, I'm ready and willing to serve. I'll be your voice at City Hall. I call it Self-Help for Santa Barbara because together we can keep Santa Barbara safe, beautiful, and fiscally sound. I'm Michael Self, and I'm asking for your vote.
I'm Kathy McCammon, and I made the decision to run for City Council because I believe we need a change in our council if we are to protect the city that we love. We must have Santa Barbara solutions for Santa Barbara problems. After 37 years of involvement in the community, I have concluded that we must change the direction of our planning and reform our budget process. I am for sound land use decisions, living within our resources, and fiscal responsibility. As a volunteer land use consultant for League of Women Voters, Allied Neighborhoods Association, Citizens Planning Association, I know that what is being proposed in the update of our general plan, the blueprint for our future, will result in overdevelopment, increased density, and congestion. I support Measure B, the People's Height Limitation Initiative. We must preserve our historic resources for our residents, our visitors, and future generations. Our economy is dependent on this. We must maintain Santa Barbara's distinctive character, safeguard our city's charm, and small-town atmosphere. I support living within our resources and our existing infrastructure. Our water supply is limited, state water is unreliable, and the desal plant will require a tremendous amount of energy, and the water it produces will be extremely costly. Lack of a dependable water supply will change the face of our city. As a former business and bankruptcy attorney, I am familiar with fiscal matters and will work to reform our budget process. We need to restore our reserves. We must have reliable fiscal planning to protect us from the ups and downs of the economy. We need to set priorities. The city can no longer rely on one-time fixes. Police and fire protection and maintenance of our infrastructure, our roads, our water supply, and our sewage system are my top priorities. I will work to achieve a safe city, protecting our neighborhoods and our residents. Addressing the gang problem, we need to reach children at an earlier age and involve parents. I will work to address the homeless problem by showing compassion for those in need while protecting our residents from intimidation. As your council member, my goals are to retain our city's special character, unique qualities, and livability. I pledge to listen and respect your concerns. I fully understand the problems facing our city, and with my training and experience, I am prepared to address our problems from day one. Thank you for your vote.